your head when you're ready. Okay, welcome to another short video with Explore with Michael. Once again, we're in the center of the old Medina of Marrakesh. And we've gone through lots and lots of windy roads. And the guide who was taking me wasn't very reliable. He's actually now my cameraman. So we're actually at the mausoleum of Imam Muhammed Al-Jazuli. And Imam Al-Jazuli, he is a best-selling author. His book is read, it's one of the most widely read pieces of literature in the whole world. But let me tell you the story of him, first of all. Let me tell you the story of him. He was born in the 1400s. And once again, he was terribly clever. So he studied at the university in Fez. And normally when people go to university now, they will read their books and they'll write out their revision cards. But books were in short supply at that point. So what he actually did, he would take these books and commit them to memory. So he memorized the Quran, the Holy Quran. He could recite it from memory. He memorized the books of Hadith, the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. He had it all by memory. And he actually went on a long pilgrimage. It was about 40 years. He traveled to Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. And there he studied and he concentrated on his own spirituality. And he completely suppressed his own ego. And consequently, people were attracted to him. And he taught, and he had a large following. And he came back to Morocco. And at one point, he was traveling with his followers. And it was time to do the prayer. So he needed water. And he went to a well, but the well was dry. And he was perplexed. Where was he going to find water? But he noticed a young girl on a hilltop, and she was looking down at him. She recognized him. She knew who he was. And she came down and says, "Why can't you get water from the well?" He said, "Well, the well is dry." So she said a prayer, and then she spat into the well. And the water in the well rose up, and there was plenty of water for Imam Jazuli and all of his followers to do their ablutions and to drink and so on. And then they managed to do one of their 5 daily prayers. And Imam Jazuli said to this young girl, "How did you reach such a high spiritual station that you could bring water up from a dry well?" And she said, "I was able to do this by calling blessings on the best of creation, the Prophet Muhammad. And this has allowed me to do this." And she gave him a little bit of a look, saying, "How come you can't do the same thing?" I think she was a little bit like the Khidr character in the story in the Quran, where Moses is guided by a mysterious stranger. Anyway, Imam Jazuli, he heard what she said, and he went away and he composed a book of prayers of benediction on the Prophet Muhammad. And it is one of the most widely read pieces of literature. Imam Jazuli also rejuvenated the Shadali Tariqa, the spiritual order. And it is part of their litany every day to read a 7th of this book. So they might start it on Friday, they'll read it, and it'll be finished by the end of the week, and then they'll read it again. So this is why it's one of the most widely read pieces of literature in the world. An amazing character. Actually, there's one other story. Well, there are lots of stories about Imam Jazuli, but there's one I particularly like. He was living in the city of Safi on the Atlantic coast. And he had a huge following. People were drawn to him like a magnet. Because, of course, he had no ego whatsoever. And so, people were drawn to him. But the governor in Safi was jealous of him. He said, people should be looking up to me and revering me, not you. So he said to Imam Jazuli, "Look, you've got 2 choices. Either you leave the city, or I'll have to put you to death." And Imam said, oh, it's an easy choice to make, I will leave. But you mark my words, you will follow me. And sure enough, a few years later, the Portuguese invaded and they seized the city of Safi. And the governor had to flee to Marrakesh, where Imam Jazuli was living. Anyway, so there's the story for you here. If you visit Morocco, pay the Imam a visit. Thank you very much.